Thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we'll do the same without wasting a single second of your time. Bada bing, bada boom, we go into the charts. So Bitcoin still making this grandiose push to the upside, coming off that point of control for that consolidation that we had priced in for an entire 67 days. So did they reaccumulate in this range over here from this 8-day reaccumulation range to push up to that 50k and beyond? We're just near that 886 and daily resistance zone at 49,470. If we look at where we dropped down before and why I put this yellow line here, we have some range that we previously broke down at that we could be seeing some resistance at if we come up to that level. What do we need to see? Well, if we zoom out to the weekly time frame and then go to our other chart here, you can see some key levels that we need to maintain. If we are above this point of control at this level here, do we come above that and close this weekly candle above that 47,160 region or not? This is where the weekly candle close will come into play. How do we close this? This is going to be a very pivotal time. Do we start to make this as a resistance level and come close beneath that 47,160 level and start to retrace back down into this, or is the bullish narrative on for this upside to continue? That is what's happening. So let's go into the liquidity and see what's up. All right, so what is the liquidity? Well, people lock their liquidity into the charts to get burnt to a crisp by the market maker, and we get to see where those crispy characters got burnt. So let's do it now. First, 24 million in short liquidity in the last 24 hours being squeezed on BTC. In the last 4 hours, you had some longs getting retraced back into to the tune of 2.77 million in longs, and in the last hour, a lot of alts, some shorts, some longs getting wrecked.
Fatality.
And that's what happens when you don't use a stop loss. So let's go first take a look at the open interest. The open interest for BTC at a whopping 4.326 billion and rising. And as we came up here, we had some net longs open, and then they start to pull back. But every time they do, more shorts just keep opening here. They squeeze the shorts, more shorts step in. So they can just keep squeezing as more shorts step in and the longs pull out onto these short carcasses. So we could be seeing a squeeze continue. I don't see the interest in the shorts being destroyed fully just yet. So we are seeing the potential of this short squeeze continuing. This open interest is quite high. Let's go ahead and look at the heat map and see what type of liquidity lurks around the corner. First, looking at the 48k region where we're at right now. Wait a minute, let's go ahead and load this again. Do we come down into some of the liquidity below? The 46.6 region has that hot area building up, but also up above, if they have a target they're aiming at, they will not let it go until that target is destroyed. If we go to the last 24 hours, there is 33 million up in that 48.8 region, and with that with the shorts opening more, they could just come into the short liquidity. Looks like they could come up to that 48.6. You got even Steven on both sides. They could come to 47.7, but looks like there is another game at play with the shorts still opening, relentlessly opening and getting squeezed each time. Do they come to that 46.2 region at one point? It looks like they will. The narrative has more, 775 million at that 46.142 region, Do we come after we start to knock out some of the high leverage players up here at 47.8? That is the question. How do they do it, and how do they close out the candle? Do they go down to go up? Do they go up to go down? I would say they go up to this region first and then come down based off of the liquidity up here. Longer term, you got $1 billion down at that 46.7. You have 870 million at that 48.773. Starting to build some more up above as well. So coming down to that 46.7 for that $1 billion after the retrace could be the case. Let's go to the higher time frame and check it out. All right. So coming to, there's 34 billion, 8 billion at 34K. Do they ever have a pre-halving retrace before the halving in April, or are we going to just reclaim this and pump City up into that halving in April? All right, Rect Capital did put out a interesting analysis about, where was it? I saw it before. Where did he put that? He was saying we're in the pre-halving rally phase. We passed the pre-halving downside. So do we have a post the pre-halving retrace? So how much of a retrace do we get into the pre-halving? That will be something to look at as we go forward. So let's go ahead and go deeper into the charts, shall we? So looking at the daily. So the daily time frame got this push above the point of control here in the range, that 60-day range, and we have the 3-day also closing with the weekly. So this 3-day close will be very important. Does it close above this region, above the 46K top of these candles, or does it start to close and make a, chances are it's going to make a higher high on the 3-day. How much higher is the question? Do we get that? Do we hold this point of control at 47,160 or not? That is what everyone will be looking to see. The Fear and Greed Index is going to show that we are at a 71, so the greed is quite high. So we're going to see how the greed holds us to the flame. So we're going to go ahead and also do a trend-based fib here for the rise retrace idea. Technically we came all the way down to here. If we go on a lower time frame, we'll do that on the daily. So coming back to there, we flipped the 236, came above that 47,317 region. Do we get up to that? That wick is some mighty good confluence at that 49,382. Do we come to that level or not on the daily time frame? Let's go ahead and throw on our oscillators and do our diligence as we go into the charts. Link in the description for more, momentummaster.info, and you can scroll down to features, toggle everything at your leisure, join the Momentum Master crew, check out the trend cloud, the baselines, the stochastic array, and more dynamic alerts to your phone so you can be plugged in for those overbought and oversold ideas. Let's go ahead and throw it on and see what's up in the charts. Okay, so the daily time frame, we were keeping you tuned in with that daily time frame cross up event back here on January 27th, and we held the point of control in the 236 level, and we were off to the races there. If we take a look, let's go ahead and look at that one thing we were looking at on one other chart here, which was the weekly cross down event. can't put out both sides of the narrative, but we are a hop, skip, and a jump. If this closes bullish, this is going to put this on a way to cross up without having a cross down play, really. So you had the cross down event after the retrace here. We came down to the 38.8. We talked about that 38.888 buyback area, and then now we started to see a pump. We're seeing if this is going to fade or not based off of the cross down event. The last time we had a cross up, it played for a long time. The last time we had a cross down, it only meant a few weeks of downside because we are in a bullish narrative. Does the weekly get the cross up? The money flow is beneath the RSI. We do see the potential of coming higher. The points of control at 47,316 for us to come back into. And yeah, let's go ahead back to the daily. All right. So the daily time frame. As it stands right now, you don't have much volume as it is low liquidity weekend. Friday set the tone, brought it up to here, and then we were adrift for the last 2 days to the upside. We still saw some decent gains within these last 2 days, up to that 3.91% in drift liquidity, inducing the shorts and punishing them each time, trapping them. Does that insinuate a squeeze into the open for the weekly candle close? Coming to the 22-hour time frame, money flow and RSI at even Steven levels. It looks like the money flow is coming above the RSI here and could suggest some fatigue if the cross down of the Williams does play out. Let's go to the meanwhile, on the oscillator, you're getting the cloud still pointing to the 2 o'clock level, super trend on your side, baseline still open with momentum to the upside. Let's go to the 12-hour. 12-hour reaching the end of a sequence here. The last time we did that, we did sputter for a little bit. Do we start to induce in this range? There's no rush or reason that it has to come up to here within the next 4 hours. Just remember that when we came up to here and sputtered out for 9 days. So we could be inducing in this range too for some time before we break that 50K level. Let's go ahead and take a look at the oscillator on the 12. Money flow beneath the RSI as people take their profits on their longs and drop the money flow beneath the RSI. Do we get that push and suppression of the stochastic here on the 12-hour? Williams still in heated overbought territory, but when it gets going, it gets going. Looking at the 6, so the 6-hour time frame, the candle closes in the next 3 hours. Do we get a cross down event of the baselines and this possibly sputtering out, similar to what happened on January 31st? Even then we came down for about 12 hours and then pumped up and then came back down. So, and it wasn't even that much. So do we come down to the wick here at 46,650? We did talk about that amount of liquidity down here that they could come back to 570. You got 2.6 billion down there on the 6 month there, so coming back to that would make sense, at least a small slight retrace. Coming to the 4 hour. 4 hours already putting in the cross down event and seeing a stop hunt potential coming down 3.6% to the super trend there or not. We are outside the price channel and heated, so we could come back to at least the price channel here on the 4 hour time frame. 4 hour is getting oversold, money flow and RSI coming down. The money flow is coming beneath the RSI here ever since the nuke caused the pause from Saturday. So if the Williams gets crossed down with another alarm here, it could suppress the 4 hour. Don't get all bullish forever just yet. Unless you're down at 38K, be careful longing these pops. They are looking to induce some Johnny-come-latelys. If you look at the hourly here, Hourly flashing this diamond of 4 time frames oversold. We just went over what those time frames were. If you were paying attention, the 22, the 12, the 6, and those lower time frames too. We're starting to reset some of these lower time frames. We got a reaction off of the cloud here on the, we were talking about more downside. If you recall, yesterday we were calling for that 46k retrace region, but we got that cloud kiss, held the super trend, and this is the Momentum Master Trinity. Hold the super trend and hold the baselines and hold that cloud, and you are destined for greatness. So the cloud kiss gave us the bounce, and then if we go to a lower time frame, we also see that bounce. Okay, hourly possibly getting a head and shoulders on the Williams to possibly come lower. You do have this money flow beneath the RSI, suggestive of coming up one last time. Looking at the 15 minute trying to play out here as we come up into the cloud. The cloud is slightly turning bearish on the 15. What do I mean by that? Well, if you look here, it is starting to curve in this manner, and we got a kind of break through the cloud, and we are possibly bearishly retesting this, and you could see this as an inflection point for more downside. What can you do for a narrative in that regard? Well, you can use a trend-based fib to go like this from the impulse to the downside. So if we maintain this 48,309 region, we could be destined to come down to here or even below 46.8. But let's just say frugally we come down to the 47.5 region. Let's go ahead and take a look at the other indices like the dollar. So the dollar, we were seeing the potential of it possibly coming up into this gap on a daily time frame. Why? Well, if you go back in time here, we were consolidating in a range here, and then we came down, hit the wick here, and bullishly came up, and now we are on the top of the channel, potentially turning this into support to go higher into this gap. There's some point of controls that they could deal with up here at the 105 region. All right, so the Dixie could put a damper on things if it decides to go up into this gap and continue on its bullish path. NQ already came up to all-time highs, and you were seeing a bunch of points of control as we played around in this range during last week and came for higher. Do we come lower in this coming week to test for support as a retrace idea? What do we look at for that? Well, we can turn on some volume profiles here. We are putting out some ideas like that to the group and marking off all these purple point of control levels. Okay, so we were putting in some fatigue across this as we came into all-time highs. So coming back to a point of control down here at 17,862 could be the case if we come down to these regions and retrace. I would not be surprised. You're getting fatigue across 7 time frames. That's what this stochastic array is about. It's the opposite end of the spectrum. The last time we had some nukes play out back here, it dumped down in there, and we also had it going into the new year here and coming down. So do we get a little bit of a retrace off the nukes for NQ? Also ES also having these nukes as we come up into all-time highs. Do we see a little bit of retrace into some of these levels? We came up last week, we were talking about coming up to here. Do we start to come back and retrace a little bit? Would not be surprised. Going to total. Let's go ahead and look at total. total made a breakout here. Give me a second. Let's go ahead and zoom out here. So this 12-hour cloud, you held above the cloud, and we just burst through that bearishness of the daily cloud shift. Now the daily cloud most likely turned in the favor of upside. Not quite, but did shift a little bit. We broke the bearish super trend, so we are on a different path now. So we can go ahead and do this as we impulse retrace and see where we're going. So we could possibly come up to this 1382, the 1882 trillion and beyond. Some confluence on these regions at the 1618 level. We already came up to that 1.747 trillion range, so we could come up to that, or we could retrace back down, find some support or some access granted from the 706 level, something we always talk about, the 706 trap door or access granted by the market maker. We were talking about coming up here on total 3. Daily cloud starting to shift here alongside the lower time frames. You had that daily cross up event from January. Some levels you could come back to. Here was the 706 trap door for this that we were going over, the 477 billion level mark, and we held that level and went up for more. This is insinuating it's a stop run because it's a break of the sequence, so it's possible it comes down a little bit one more time. We'll see if total 3 is coming back or not. Let's go ahead and look at the Bitcoin dominance. Oops, let me turn this off. Bitcoin dominance did get that retrace to the cloud and starting to come up higher here. Something to recover would be coming up to, if the dominance is going to abate a little bit, it looks like Bitcoin's still bullish, but you are getting a cross down event of the 4-hour, so coming back a little bit to test the cloud or the super trend might be in order. You have this lower time frame region that we could come back to, this gap that we burst up from. USDT dominance came down, made a rocket ship, still not playing off of the rocket ship play just yet. Let's go ahead and go to the higher time frame to see where those locked in. We're gonna go pull a fib on this and see if it lines up with any level. Deep. So we broke the 786 and we're coming slightly to that 886. So this might be more bullish than bearish. If the USDT dominance is coming lower, that means that people are still keen to put their USDT into trades. So this breaking down off the 886, suggestive of more bullishness for the market. We had some rocket ships that played out here across some, where was that time frame? Yeah, the 4-hour locked in and played out there. So do we get a little bit of play, or are we going to see more push suppression of this idea on the USDT dominance? Let's go ahead and see if there's any questions here. What's up, Spregados, Rainier, Clue, Prehab, yo, 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 yo. Put that weekly trend-based fib on, so top of NQ is 706 almost, nice. Let's go ahead and see what you're talking about. Oh yeah, the 706 here from this. Basically down to there. There, or you were looking at a different impulse? I would look at this initial impulse to break out of this point of control, and then we came up, and then we came into this level, and then we came back to that to test it, and then the 236 idea here, whether we're holding this point of control in this range. This is another high volume node here. Sorry, let me change this. The high volume node here was something we flipped and then came up. And then we met with resistance at the 706, at 917 we came down and then burst up above. So coming up to that 1866 region, that's exactly where we wicked up to. You see that? It's maybe off by $4, but it came up to that one level. That's why we use these projections. This impulse retrace idea gives some really nice information about where we could go in the future. So we could come up to these in this uncharted territory as well after coming back to the 706 for confirmation. So we'll see. Do we come back to a point of control, wick into it, and then come back to the 706 for access granted to the upside? I'd like to see a little bit more of a pullback for some more bullishness. That would make more sense. People take their profits and then look to reinsert them to push price up. All right, so coming back to BTC, let's go ahead and look at that. Hope everyone's having a nice weekend. The weekend is almost over. It is the midnight. Let's go ahead and actually look at BTC on ATOS. I've been working on an ATOS kind of setup here, so we're just going to go over that. I'm not going to explain everything that's on here. I'm still in the process, but making a template for ATOS here. This is the footprints imbalances over here on the left, and then you have the main view here. I'm using this because this is a tick-based chart. You can research about that, but it's not time-based and it's not price action-based, it's trade-based. So this is very good for volume analysis because you can see where the bid-ask ratio and how much density was in each of those bursts. So it's a different way to view the charts entirely. While it is candles, it's based on the degree of trades within those candles. So it's a tick-based chart, and then you can catch more divergence. Like for example here, you have a lower low, higher low on the bid-ask ratio, and boom, upside. Also seeing the delta fatigue, you had a lot of volume per second on this orange dots here, and then you could have taken that. So I've been watching this carefully, and you can see in the minutia here, like if I go back, let's zoom out of this and go down to that level. We'll go back into that bottom part here. All right, so in this little bit here, where is it? No, this one, ellipse. So inside of here, we're going to be looking inside of here. Why did it reverse out? So we're going to go look inside that. So here, you were hitting a bunch of sell stops on some Johnny-come-lately longs and or trapping some shorts. Doesn't matter which, 54, 63, 69. It's less, it's sparse. As you see, there's a lot of more spread. It's not like NASDAQ. So anyway, we were hitting a bunch, 150 Bitcoin sold off there. And then you had, basically it tells you here that for the session, negative 1,000. So we were generating some negative delta, and then we came back to a gap slash wick from before, I think. Yeah, it was a double bottom kind of thing, and then we bounced out from there. Wait a minute, I think that's this one. Sorry, I'm looking at a different. This one was at 47,900. So we got to go back a little bit further. Here. There, it's down here, sorry. Wait, it should be 47.9, right? Yeah. 47.9 would put you there. Huh? No. Went back too far here. going back too far. Oh, there it is. There we go. Pardon me. Alright, so this was, here it is. This was much better. Okay. Alright, so in this circle here, there was 20, 40, 60, 80, 90, about 100 Bitcoin, and then we came back to a gap. They hit some of the cells here. You can see by the delta. And then they started to come, somebody was buying back, and then they shot it up. You're seeing a lot of cells generate here, so somebody's offloading their position and or getting some shorts, but a lot of buys hit too as they squeeze some of those shorts. And then where are we at? Right here. So this is something to see as a scalper's tool in the moment. Very good for NQ and ES as you watch the contracts flood in. There's a link in the description for a 14-day free trial if you want to try this. If you're part of the Momentum Master crew, I'm happy to share my setup, my workspace, if you go ahead and hit my link or whatever. So let's go ahead and look what's happening now. Where are we now? Jeez Louise, why is it taking so long to get back to where we are? Okay, so as we come down here, you can see all these cells hit. We get 20, 40, 60 Bitcoin eliminated. And you can see in the moment who's getting squeezed, and you can see there's intensity that occurred right there after we broke the point of control, the volume point of control here. There's a little bit more sell-off, and we're getting a lot of follow-through expression here as we break that 48K. Let's go see what the open interest looks like. Still getting a lot of net shorts though, not really liking it, so they could just be inducing this to come into the short squeeze later. So we were talking about how this could come lower, but if it comes down even to the super trend and holds the super trend, you could get this massive, we nailed this before this happened, but you could come down to here and just blast all the way up to like 50K or 49K from there. So be very careful if you're entering into shorts. But just to point out that the majority are calling for 50K, and there is that 71 greed. I hope you don't mind me sharing it on the weekly. I see. So you're at the 706 on the weekly from there. Good looking out. You had the 236 there. Cool. Thanks for sharing. So yeah, we could come all the way down to this cloud, and this super trend has been holding on the hourly since Wednesday the 7th. So this super trend has been mighty good for this journey to the upside. If you traded off the super trend, you'd be in the moolah. Anyone got any questions? Any questions? No, yes, no, maybe so. So we were saying that possibly we would get this bearish retest off of the cloud as we were up here hitting the cloud. We said that, and it's happening. No patterns necessary. Math, liquidity, math, momentum. That's all you need. The 3 pillars. Put on the weekly. Oh yeah, I just saw that. Shout out to everyone here. So yeah, we're seeing if this can come down to that level and see what the reaction will be. We're going into the value area low, trying to bounce off the value area low for the day. One thing we can do to make it cleaner here, I don't like Atas's TPO charts, but I'll do it on here. Breaking the point of control here, do we come down to the point of control from yesterday? Point of control from yesterday at 47,308. Value area high for yesterday up here at 47,600, so we can go test the value area high to go higher, Or if we negate that value area high, we could come on down to that point of control from yesterday. Either way, you have it's what they call a naked point of control. It has yet to be tested, so there's more of a gravitation to come back to here than not. And you did that for 1, 2, 3 days. So this is prior to Friday zone. Friday's point of control up at that 1382.47.5. So we could come to that point of control for Friday. I'm going to go ahead and mark that off here. Point of control. And then we're going to change the color to purple. My purple ones are going to be points of control from now on, so I can distinguish by color. Here's another point of control down here. 47.3. And you got some manipulation stop hunt sequence event here down at that 47 even level. So we're rejecting the point of control right now, rejecting the cloud, possibly coming to retest this. Is it odd to think that? Not at all, which is why it's probably going to happen, because a lot of YouTubers probably putting out their 50K projections and all the retail FOMOing in at the top, drawing their cup and handles and stuff. We'll see. What's up? It is CNC. So we'll see. We will see. There's a level up there at 1382 at that 49.382 region. Confluence for both sides. We don't care which direction it goes as long as you're on the right side when it does it. Okay. We will see. So let's go back into a toss. The tick-based chart. So the tick-based chart just shows you every little nook and cranny of the moves, because it's not time-based, but it shows you every little pop, every little drop, and where do people get in. So there's some interest being generated. 46 Bitcoin bought there at 48.5, 48.50. So that leads to more downside, because then they are like, oh good, we can test your stop loss now. That was definitely a long. A short would not close out there. So you can read by context what is what. And so that 81 Bitcoin delta in this little pop, they can take for a lower price. All right. And that's how you read it. If it accelerates below the value area low here, then it's most likely going to go a little bit lower. If you come back in from the value area low, then you go up higher. Okay, so if we're going to go through this value area low, we can just rip through, and we watch that ratio change. So far negative on the session, negative 700 Bitcoin. As we go lower, this could be engineering some shorts to turn into buy side later, which is why we say watch out. Anyone got any questions, comments, anything? So it's all about how the weekly candle closes. Do we come down to the point of control from Friday? Do we come down to the point of control from Thursday? Or no, sorry, from yesterday, Saturday. That's Saturdays, that's Fridays. So the Friday point of control is here at 47,500. Saturday's naked point of control down at 47,300. And then you have this manipulation stop hunt level down here at 47 even. So you have some ideas to come back and claim the weekend liquidity of the people that got in for upside movement, and then go to the upside. So they could go down and stop all those mofos out and then go higher. Would not be surprising at all. And it would still be bullish because it's maintaining 786, all these other key levels. Yeah, so that's basically my story, and I'm sticking to it, but we're gonna just chill out and watch this on this ATOS platform real quick. So we're getting a little bit of a shift here, but look at this. If you look at that bounce that just occurred, look, there was nothing in there. There was 13 Bitcoin that caused that to jump from 48,024 to 48,077. Nothing. So it's like when you see inside the candle, you see not only the misleading nature of candles, how that doesn't actually have anything inside of it. It's as empty as a toilet paper tube. And B, it's an inducement, because what it ends up doing is you see there's more buys that just entered there, and there's no delta at all. So it's all thin. See 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 5, 3, 1. So there's nothing in there. So it's just the algorithm hunting for liquidity, and they're trying to convict this guy who entered with 46 Bitcoin and aggressively bought. So they gave him a little bit of profit to see what he would do, and then if they accelerate down beneath this guy, then they're punishing the buyers some more. Maybe they were trying to see who would see this candle or whatever as a bullish idea, because a lot of people are enticed by the color of the candle or whatever, so they could get some more buy side as they fade it on this guy. But there was 14 sells that happened here at 48.59, so they could accelerate into those guys. Within the Momentum Master Discord, we're sharing our screen with this ATOS for NQ as well. It's for the private members only, unfortunately, but when we do the live New York Open, we put out some decent ideas from there. Please feel free to hop in, say what's up. So this value area low held so far, and we got a little bit of a bounce, but as you can see, it was as empty as a toilet paper tube, and now we're starting to come back down. You got 11 sells here, 14 sells there. In terms of shorts, they would be in profit, and they're punishing this pool of 46 buyers, which are longs here, that they could be showing that the sellers are slightly in control here to continue lower. All right. And that's how I just read this all the time, looking at the different confluences upon confluences. Well, ladies and gents, I will wait until the 15-minute candle close. Actually, that's like 8 minutes away, so we'll just bid you adieu here, but trade safe. We got the weekly candle just around the corner. Is it going to close out bullish? We have our levels that we were looking at here. Let's go back to them. 47,160 to be above that point of control from 2021. So do we come above that 47,160 region, flip it into support to go higher into the 50K region? We previously came into the wick, came into the 48.8 region and rejected off of this. So do we come back and close a candle strong within it? If we reject out into this, we might have to retrace a little bit deeper to come back and get some bullish momentum down here and use the latecomers liquidity to build some narrative over the week to come higher. Watching out for the dollar. Does the dollar push up into this gap? We did previously bounce off the 786 here. We didn't come back for any of these order blocks. And yeah, we could come up to this region and reject off it, but we could see how the dollar is going to behave. We held this range for quite some time, then the auction sent it higher. They waited for the auctions to finish. It didn't do anything. Did the auctions feel lackluster and they come back down into this candle again? Or is that enough to just push it and test the highs here? I'm more apt to see it go up and Bitcoin to retrace down if the bullish narrative is genuine. All right. So that is my story, and I'm sticking to it, folks. So thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part.
Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we'll do the same, bringing the fire, the accuracy, the precision, all that fun stuff, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.